Hi everybody and welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Greta and I'm the dietitian at John Stoddard Cancer Center. So today I have another recipe for you. I've done it a long time ago in another cooking class and I thought I should bring it back. And it's for a mushroom risotto, and it's not just any risotto. Traditional risotto uses arborio rice, which is a white rice. So we're going to substitute the arborio rice with farro, and farro is a whole grain. It's a great grain. It's got lots of fiber and protein. The other advantage is we don't have to do all the stirring we have to do with arborio rice. So you can just add the liquid and let it simmer. So it's even a little bit easier than traditional risotto. So we're going to get started chopping, because you know me, I like to get everything chopped. So I have a whole pound of cremini mushrooms. So cremini mushrooms, otherwise known as baby bella mushrooms, are a really nice, meaty, flavorful mushroom. And we're just going to slice these up. I've said it before, this session I was doing a lot more mushroom dishes this time. Mushrooms are a great addition to plant-based cooking. They're very meaty, they're very hearty, great substitution for meat. So I am taking the stems out, they're a little bit tougher. You can always save your stems if you make your own veggie stock. I am using my own veggie stock for this particular recipe. You can use chicken stock. If you want to keep it completely plant-based, you can use veggie stock. But you can save those stems and use them when you are making your stock. They're just a little tough for our purposes today, so I am going to take them out. And then we're just going to slice up our mushrooms. Not a whole lot of things to chop today, thankfully. Alright. Just about through my stems here. You can use other mushrooms if you want to. You could use a variety of mushrooms. This is just what I happen to have on hand right now, which I usually do have mushrooms in my refrigerator all the time. So we're just going to sort of chop through our mushrooms. You know they do shrink a little bit when you're cooking them. If some of your creminis are just a little bit bigger, you can half them first before you start slicing them. I know it's just about April. It's right around the corner, but we are still having some chillier days, so it's nice to have some warmer recipes to do at this time of year. Move this stack over to my bowl, make some room for the rest. I love risotto. It's just such a rich, creamy, hearty dish, and with using the farro, it really just is kind of a different take on it. If you need to do something that is a gluten-free alternative, you could use other grains in this instead. I did a taste test with my family to see if they preferred the arborio rice or the farro, and I was very surprised that my family decided they actually liked the farro risotto better. They said it was heartier. Believe it or not, this is really a meal. It's not a side dish. Like a lot of times, rices and grains are side dishes. This is actual whole meal. The nice thing is it's sort of a one pot kind of meal. I always like less dishes. Alright, moving my mushrooms over. Just like that. Alright, so next we're going to do I'm going to do shallots. So you can do shallot or onion. It's kind of up to you what you have. I like shallots. I like the flavor that they offer, so I tend to use them. If you can't find them, you absolutely could substitute onion instead. I'm going to do 2 shallots. These are really nice sized shallots. This always brings about the debate. Is this 1 shallot or 2 shallots when you break it apart and it's 2 chunks? To me, I'd still call it 1. And we're just going to kind of chop up and slice up our shallot. Then you have you're using onion, you're just going to sort of dice up your onion. There's one. Kind of like how you open them up and you're like, oh look, there's two. It's like a fun surprise. And we have Squeaky Toy. So we have a new puppy. He hasn't been exposed to as many videos as Duke has. So Duke is teaching him that when Mom cooks, we get out the squeaky toys. Teaching them young. Alright. So lacing up my shallot, chopping it. So this recipe also does call for some fresh herbs, and I think in the recipe it says rosemary or sage or thyme. I actually didn't have either one on hand, and I usually do have herbs on hand, but my greenhouse herbs have not quite all come back yet. So in my produce bin, I happen to get some rosemary. So I'm going to use rosemary. I like rosemary and mushroom together. I think they're a nice flavor together. So don't be afraid to substitute other herbs of what you have on hand. We also are going to finish it with some fresh herb on top. That's going to be kind of uncooked, just to add some freshness and greenness. And that's going to be some nice flat leaf parsley. Ooh, this shallot is strong. If I start to cry, I am not sad, I promise you. Alright. Alright, shallot is ready. I'm going to move him to the side. Cameraman, I'm just going to step over to my stove really quick. So I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil in my pan right here. I'm just going to get that going. Sort of medium-ish high heat. I also have my veggie stock. It's about 6 cups of veggie stock. So this is kind of a time-saving step. I have it heating right here. So when I add it, it's going to come to a simmer really fast because it's going to be nice warm stock. So you don't have to do it, but it's kind of a time-saving trick. So while my oil is heating up and I finish my chopping, I've got 2 cloves of garlic right here. Just going to smash and mince my garlic. It is windy today again, and that means we have a cat running into the back door. I swear, it's like making videos at the Rescue League. Alright, the entertainment is free, folks. Okay, so mincing up my garlic. Layer after layer after layer of flavor. Hearing a sound that sounds like crinkly paper. I made the mistake of buying a toy for the dogs that's got like crinklies in it, so I keep thinking they're chewing on paper, but it's actually their toy. Alright, my garlic is ready to go. My beautiful sticky garlic. Alright, let's go over and test my oil. Just remember the spoon test. Have bubbles, it's ready. Little teeny tiny bubbles that form around the spoon. and grab my shallots. I'm making my cameraman get some exercise today. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add either your shallot or onion, whatever you chose this time. Stay there, cameraman. I'm gonna go get the rest. Pepper these guys a little bit. All right, so we're just gonna cook these down. It's only gonna take about 3 to 5 minutes till they're just softened. And then we're gonna come back and work on a little bit more. I'll be back in a minute. So my shallots were nice and softened, so I just went ahead and added my mushrooms. We're just going to cook these down for about 5 minutes or so. I went ahead and I did add some pepper to these. I don't want to add salt right now. I don't want the salt to draw all of the liquid out of the mushrooms, or they're going to get kind of tough. So we want them to maintain their structure. So we're going to let those go and cook down just a little bit longer here. I'm going to come back over to my cutting board with my cameraman. I've also got my rosemary, that is what I'm using, so I've got that all nice and chopped and ready to go. You could substitute dry herbs if you don't have fresh on hand, but your fresh herbs add so much flavor. They also have those cancer-fighting phytochemicals, so it's another good reason to use fresh herbs. I also measured out my 1.5 cups of my farro right here, so you can see the grains. Kind of looks like a cross between rice and steel-cut oats. They're loaded with protein and fiber, so they're going to be great. So it's 1.5 cups of that. So we're going to come back in just a few minutes when our mushrooms are ready and add a few more layers. Okay, so my mushrooms are nice and soft. You can see most of the liquid has cooked down out of them. They've really maintained their shape, which is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and add my 2 cloves of chopped garlic right now. And that's only going to take about 30 seconds to a minute till you can just start to smell it. It's always my favorite moment when you can start to smell the garlic. Never want to burn our garlic, right? So this is the point that we can salt our veggies now after the mushrooms have been cooked. I can smell garlic. I'm just adding about a teaspoon or so of salt. Alright, now I'm going to add my farro in. So this is kind of what I do with any kind of cooked rice dish too. I'm going to put your farro in and let it get sort of coated with oil, and it will start to kind of crackle just a little bit. It only takes about a minute or so. And it just adds this really nice nuttiness to your grain. And Duke's teaching him about the squeaky toy. Can't have a video without it. It just has this really nice nutty aroma as that rice kind of gets coated. So at this point now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm adding about a 1/2 cup of white wine. If you do not want to cook with wine, you could do a little bit of stock, but it really just helps to kind of deglaze the pan. Get all the yummy bits off the bottom. It does add another layer of flavor. So like I said, you don't have to do that. You could just do a little bit of stock too. And we're going to let that sort of cook off. So I was reading a really interesting article the other day when we're talking about mushrooms. We've done a lot of mushroom dishes. And you always want to make sure that your mushrooms are cooked. You never want to eat raw mushrooms. Even edible mushrooms need to be cooked because they can contain toxins. And I was actually reading an article about some morel mushrooms, which are very popular in the springtime in Iowa, that in a state not too far away, that many people became very ill last year from eating uncooked morel mushrooms. So you want to make sure that your mushrooms are always cooked. So you can see there is no liquid left. It really has all pretty much cooked off. There's very little of it. And that's just what we want. All right, so I'm going to come over to my hot stock. And I'm going to go ahead and add that. So this is 6 cups of veggie stock. I've done this recipe a few times and I found that was the right amount. The sediment in the bottom is I don't thin strain my veggie stock, so there's always a little bit of stuff left. So we're going to let this kind of come up to a boil. And then we're going to turn it down. I'm going to put a lid on it. We're going to let it simmer so that the farro can cook. It takes about 15 minutes. I'm also going to go ahead and add my rosemary in there too to add that layer of flavor. And once my farro is cooked, we're going to come back and see what it looks like. So it's been 20 minutes, so I'm going to take my lid off now and show you my beautiful mushrooms. The farro is all cooked and it's puffed up. Yum, and boy does that smell good. Alright, so at this point now, I am going to add a cup of peas. I know not everyone's favorite. You can omit them. Honestly, if you wanted to do another green vegetable, asparagus would work really well in here too. You could do some chopped greens. You could do spinach. You could do some chopped kale. I like the peas. It adds, again, a little bit more of that plant-based protein. We're going to go ahead. I turned my heat up just a little bit so this could simmer with those peas in there for about a minute. And you can see it's already thickening up even more. So we're going to give it about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish it. So I'm back because I just got my risotto off the stove. All of the farro is perfectly cooked. We've got those peas warmed through there. It is still a little brothy, and that's what we want. We want it to be a bit brothy. Really, risotto, when it hits a plate, it should spread. The farro is also going to keep absorbing some of that liquid, which is nice, so that when you reheat it, it's not going to get dry. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish it up. So I have some nice flat leaf parsley here. Grab a bunch of that. And this just adds another just kind of fresh, bright layer on the end. I always do extra. I know in the recipe it says like 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley, but I like a lot of nice fresh chopped parsley at the end. I just really think it brightens it up a lot. So I'm just taking this, removing the stems, keeping the tender part at the top. Just gonna give this a quick chop. I can't even tell you how good this smells with that veggie broth and herbs. It smells really good. Really easy. It comes together really fast. You don't have a lot of chopping to do for this recipe. It's all in one pan. It's really pretty easy. Alright. That looks good to me. Top it. Parsley. Just like that. I'll spread around. And then to finish it off, Totally optional, but so good. I just give it a nice shave of Parmesan cheese right across the top. If you want to keep this vegan, you could just add a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast to kind of give it that cheesy flavor. And that's it. It's ready to go. So thank you for joining me today and enjoy.